Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it.
The morning after my husband William's funeral, the house felt unbearably empty. His slippers still sat beside the bed, his glasses on the nightstand, as though he would walk in and put them on any moment. I drifted through the rooms like a ghost, clutching his sweater for comfort. The silence pressed against me until the sound of tires crunching on gravel startled me back to reality. My son Kean and his wife, Darcy, swept into the foyer as though they owned it. Darcy's perfume lingered sharp and cold, while Kean carried a leather folder. His eyes, once so full of boyish charm, now had an unsettling steeliness. "Mother," he began, his tongue clipped, "we need to talk about the estate." I tried to smile, though my heart pounded. "Kean, surely this can wait. Your father is barely gone." Darcy interrupted, smoothing her designer coat. "That's exactly why it can't wait. It's impractical for you to manage this house alone. The stairs, the size, the bills. It isn't safe." I frowned. "This is my home. I've lived here for 42 years. Kean opened the folder and laid down a stack of documents on the hall table. "Not anymore. According to Father's will, everything, house, accounts, investments, passes to me. You weren't named." The words sliced through me. "That can't be true. Your father would never." "It is true," Kean said, his jaw tightening. "We've let you stay here out of kindness, but it's time you made other arrangements." I staggered back, gripping the banister. My son's voice was not kind, it was final. Darcy gave a brittle laugh. "There's a senior complex on Maple Street, very affordable. You'll make friends your own age." I looked from one face to the other, searching for a glimmer of compassion. I found none. "Find somewhere else to die," Kean muttered, barely above a whisper. "You're useless now." The sweater in my hand slipped to the floor. I packed my belongings in silence, fitting decades of love into 2 battered suitcases. From the doorway, Darcy tapped her watch as though I were a burden delaying her schedule. By dusk, I sat in the backseat of their sleek car, watching the only home I had ever known disappear in the rearview mirror. The house William and I had built together, where laughter once rang through every hallway, was gone. And in its place was a void so deep it swallowed even my breath. The small apartment on Ashwood Lane smelled of mildew and resignation. The wallpaper peeled like a wound, and the radiator clanked through the night as though mocking me. I sat at the rickety kitchen table with my suitcases still unopened, staring at the shadows stretching across the ceiling. Every memory of William haunted me here, his laughter at breakfast, his steady hand on mine during storms. And now, nothing but silence. 3 days passed. On the 4th morning, a letter slid under my door. No return address, only my name written in William's familiar hand. My fingers trembled as I tore it open. "If you are reading this, Aurelia, then I am gone. I fear what Kean and Darcy might do. That is why I created a trust in your name. Within it lies not only our savings but also the controlling shares of Terralux International. Do not let anyone take this from you. It was always meant to be yours." My heart pounded. William had foreseen their betrayal. The world tilted as I realized everything they claimed was a lie. The house, the accounts, the company. They weren't Kean's at all. They were mine. At that very moment, the phone rang. I almost didn't answer, but the voice on the other end froze me. "Mother, it's Kean." His tone was uncharacteristically strained. We need your help. Things aren't as stable as we thought. The company's accounts, something's wrong." I let the silence stretch before replying, my voice steady. "I know what's wrong, Kean. Your father told me himself." Darcy's voice cut in, shrill in the background. "Don't listen to her, Kean. She's delusional." But I ended the call, my hand no longer trembling. For the first time since William's death, I felt a spark of strength burn in my chest. They had thrown me out like I was nothing. Yet soon, the truth would force them to their knees. The following afternoon, when Kean and Darcy weren't home, I went to William's old study, a place I had not dared step into since his passing. Dust cloaked the shelves, but his order remained untouched, files neatly stacked, ledgers bound in leather, a faint trace of cedar still lingering. I unlocked the drawer with the small brass key I had always carried and found a folder marked simply, "For Aurelia." Inside were bank statements, contracts, and a series of loan agreements. My breath caught as I traced the signatures. Kean's, bold and reckless, beneath sums that climbed into the hundreds of thousands. Some were tied directly to Terralux International, others to shadowy shell companies I had never heard of. My son had been siphoning money, gambling with both the business and William's legacy. The weight of betrayal pressed hard against my chest. I could almost hear William's voice, grave but steady. Protect what we built, Aurelia. Don't let them ruin it. That evening, Kane appeared at my door. His eyes were restless, darting like a trapped animal's. Mother, he began, trying to sound casual. I hope you understand the situation. The company needs liquidity, short-term loans, nothing unusual. You should transfer the trust's assets to me. I can stabilize everything. I held his gaze. You forged your father's name on contracts. Do you deny? His face blanched, and for a heartbeat, he faltered. Then Darcy pushed past him, her perfume sharp in the stale air. You can't prove anything, she snapped. And if you drag this through the courts, you'll destroy the family name. Do you want William remembered as a failure? The audacity stung, but it also clarified my resolve. I folded the documents back into the folder and met their eyes. I will not cover your sins. The law will decide whose name is stained. They stormed out, slamming the door, but the sound no longer shook me. For the first time, I knew exactly where the path ahead led, toward truth, justice, and a reckoning they could not escape. The morning after their visit, I sought out Mr. Caldwell, William's long-trusted lawyer. His office smelled of leather and old ink, a place where truth seemed unavoidable. I laid the folder of documents before him, my hands trembling though my voice remained firm. He leafed through the pages, his brow furrowing deeper with each turn. Finally, he looked up, his expression heavy. Mrs. Hargrave, this is worse than you think. These loans weren't just reckless. They were fraudulent. Your son and his wife pledged assets from the trust, assets that legally never belonged to them. A chill coursed through me. You mean, they've stolen from William's estate? More than that, Caldwell said gravely. If these contracts surface publicly, the company could face bankruptcy. And you, since you are the legal trustee, would bear the weight of their actions unless you act swiftly. The air seemed to constrict around me. Bankruptcy. Fraud. My own child's deception dragging William's legacy into ruin. I felt both fury and heartbreak battle within me. At that moment, the office door burst open. Kian strode in, Darcy close behind. They probably followed me by installing tracking software on my car. Mother, Kian said, his tone rehearsed. There's no need for lawyers. We can fix this as a family. Transfer control to me and I'll clean up the mess. I turned sharply. Your mess. Not William's. And not mine. Darcy's smile was thin, venomous. Think carefully. If you expose us, you'll ruin your own name. Do you want to be remembered as the widow who destroyed her husband's empire? Their words were daggers, but I no longer bled. I gathered the papers back into the folder and met Caldwell's steady eyes. No, I said, my voice cold and clear. I want to be remembered as the woman who saved it. The silence that followed was heavier than thunder. For the first time, I saw fear flicker in Kian's eyes. When I entered, the company's conference room was quiet, William's portrait looming above the mahogany table like a silent judge. Mr. Caldwell sat to my right, documents neatly stacked before him. Across from me, Kian and Darcy shifted uneasily, their arrogance cracked at last. I placed the trust's sealed charter on the table. This, I said, tapping the cover, is William's true legacy. He entrusted me, not you, to protect it. Kian leaned forward, desperation leaking through his tone. Mother, don't do this. We can fix everything together. Just give me control. I met his gaze, steady as steel. Control is earned, not stolen. Caldwell cleared his throat and read aloud the final clause William had written years before. In the event of deception or misuse on the part of my son Kian, full authority remains with my wife, Aurelia, to preserve what I built. The words fell like a gavel. Darcy paled. Kian slumped back, defeated. I rose to my feet, my voice unwavering. You sought to bury William's name beneath your greed. Instead, his name will stand higher than ever, and so will mine. At that moment, there was a knock at the door. Open up, police. I had called them. The police entered, handcuffed my son and daughter-in-law, and said, you are charged with document forgery, fraud, and abuse of an elderly person. As I left the room, sunlight streamed through the tall windows, warm and liberating. William's legacy was safe, and for the first time, I felt it was also mine.
Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.